Today I'm wearing a tank top. It's like I'm revolting against the system. You know, they want to make it snow in April. Then I'm really sick of my winter clothes. So start moving into the summer and spring clothes. Um, just get myself to not be aware of the freezing cold. So I have a few things that I got to talk about. Oh, okay. So I didn't tie my hair up today. I was like, okay, this is a test. Can you keep your fingers out of your hair? I've got a problem. So, anyways, one of the things I was gonna say was I've got so many things. Let me try and put it all in order. Okay. So one thing is, I did a video the other day on TikTok, and it's so funny because it'll always be these random videos where it's just like, oh, I just got to say this. And I don't think about like, oh, tens of thousands of people may see this. I just think like, you know, the group of people who I interact with is going to see this. So you just don't think about it like that. So you don't think about like, what am I wearing? What does my hair look like? You know? And, but anyways, these random videos where I always feel like super emotional and super excited. And it's funny because I think, you know, the more real and raw that we are, the more that we draw to that because we're so fucking sick of this phony ass world. So, anyways, I have one on TikTok right now that's going crazy. This is the first time I've ever had a lot of people. I've never had somebody duet me that I know of. I guess that TikTok that my daughter had done, you know, the one about you had a Karen as a mom and I had a Kelly, and then which I had no idea she was making any of those videos. Like, I was a shocker to me. I like, who thinks like your kid's sitting in the background videotaping you while you're doing stuff? I didn't think of it. So, anyways, now I have this one that is going crazy, and you know, people are duetting it. Like, I'm saying a pretty simple thing. Like, I go into way more complex matters on here, but you know, it's just speaking a little truth there for a minute, and people are going crazy about it. And so the thing I want to say about it is, for all of us who are, you know, paying attention to the awakening, is most of the comments are definitely like, you know, I've been seeing this in my house. Oh my gosh, I know. And, you know, most of the people are, you know, it's like a confirmation to them. Like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is really happening. But you do still have a few. And sometimes some of the comments are so ridiculous. Like, I had one person tell me that the reason my plants in my windows are dying is not because there's no sunlight. No, not because of that. Even with this fake ass sun that they bring out, that it is because I'm just not a good gardener, and starts lecturing me about that. Well, I'm in Washington State. I don't have any problems like that. Okay, well, I don't know what they're doing in your individual experiment, but you bet your ass you're getting poisoned with something. Don't think you're above everybody else. This is you know, this is a lab. This is a giant lab. We're all under experiment. And now they've just taken it to the level because it had to be so in our face. It's part of the awakening, you know, these chips. And I shared some stuff about that in some shorts. These chips and our what was I gonna say? I always throw myself off when I have to throw in a little thing, a little sidebar action. The chips and the I'll think of it. But, you know, in the whole direction they want to take us is so absurd. I mean, it's their plan. I mean, they want AI people, they want the free energy and stuff. So they want us to be droids that don't ask questions. You know, we're just a bunch of mindless. Everybody looks the same. You have no identity to any culture or any ancestry or any relation. You're just, you know, a mindless droid. And, you know, they do so well with this creating division. Like, this is one of the things, so I'm going to skip over to this real quick, is one of the things that is just really got in my, what would the word be? Anyways, it really irritated me. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I keep hearing, they know not what they do. They know not what they do. They know not what they do. So I've got to just release it and be like, okay, they don't know. They just don't see it. They don't understand. They don't know what they're doing. But, so this girl, I've talked about her before, that I see on TikTok all the time. And she's always trying to come up with labels. She's the one who's always talking about neurodivergent or something like that. She was the one who, with her little kid, when she decided, she had no books to read, so she was going to stoop to reading this kid Bible, and how proud she was when her son said that Jesus could be a queen if he wanted to be a queen. And, that was a proud moment for her. But she spends a lot of her videos just creating division. Like, she talks so much smack about boomers. Like, she generalizes this group of people who, how many boomers does she even know? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how are you the expert? Please. Today, the one that really got me today was she's, we have to just have empathy for them. They grew up eating lead paint and no seat belts. And, they, what was another chemical she said? We chewed on our lead paint toys. We ate paint peeling off the walls. We, all of this stuff that was just like so ridiculous. It was like, this is the same thing that I was talking about the other day. These people who didn't live during this time, but somehow they're the experts on it. It's just like, oh my God, the arrogance and the egomania that goes on in some of these people's minds. And they're always the ones who are looking for how to identify themselves through labels. Like, oh, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. Like, I've seen so many of these progressive people who are just, I swear to God, that one day I saw a girl who had like 20 fucking labels. She had every fucking label. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. And it was just like, oh my God, how many labels do you need? When do you just accept yourself and just be you? Why do you need these identifiers like this? Especially ones that they're created, and they're created to generalize. It's like, it's so mental. But, it's the same group of people that always have to create this division with the generations and stuff. And, there's this whole thing, like, I've never eaten a freaking bit of lead paint. I didn't chew on my fucking lead paint toys. I don't even know what is she talking about. Like, it is bizarre world. And, we were definitely, I've said before, we were the first generation where they started really poisoning us and, calling it astronaut food and stuff to get people to stop eating food that they grew and started, eating food fast. And their whole thing, behind the women's movement, they've already got that. Kissinger already talked about that. It was a plan. Get them out of the house. Get the kids in school. Then we have a grip on the kids and their minds. So, that whole plan. The whole plan of getting us to chase money, get us to chase fortune. And then as we're chasing it, they inflate to pretty soon, 2.5 jobs can't run a household. People have got their kids working to try and help out with the bills. So, and what will we accept? How far will we go? People they don't stop and think. They just keep going. And this is so much what I had talked about before when I learned about the chakras. And in the lower chakras, that is when you're just on autopilot. You're not thinking for yourself. You're not doing for yourself. You're on autopilot and you're just reactive. And it is when you are those are your pain centers. It's where you hold your pain. It's why so many people have reproductive problems and problems with their lower GI and stuff. It's where you hold your pain. And that energy stores there. And you have to heal to release it. So healing, it moves it up the Kundalini so that you process and you move out of pain. So, you know, like the girl who just is nonstop attacking the boomers, it's like all I hear is you've got mommy and daddy issues. You've got some issues going on. And instead of working on your issues, you're trying to bring everyone into your team. But you're really just distracting yourself from your issues because you're more focused on your team rather than dealing with what is your pain. And there's so many people, this is what I get, where they know not what they do. They don't have any idea that they are blocking their own growth, that they are creating division. And, you know, it's just like I keep saying, you got to think things through. You got to go the extra mile. They want you to just stay on the surface. Don't think about what you're doing or how it affects others and stuff. Just, you know, focus on you, ego, ego, ego. So, you know, I think, you know, some of these people who are doing this and creating this kind of division, it's going to come back and haunt them. It's going to bite them in the ass. I mean, things are going to keep shifting. These people, you know, who aren't awake yet, is it's they like when I said, you know, you pick your role in this movie that is happening here. You know, are you somebody who's going to go out and speak the truth and, you know, put yourself out there, be vulnerable? I know some of you are, you know, and that's beautiful. That's what we have to do. That's what creates the awakening, when we all take our place. We all stand up and say, hey, this is my truth. And don't be put off if it's not somebody else's truth. It doesn't matter. We're unique. We're individual. We are going through our own processes. It doesn't matter what somebody else is going through. And, you know, these people who just want to distract themselves and not do their healing, and they think that they are, you know, doing a good thing by getting everybody on board to, you know, for division. And when they realize what role they're playing, you know, I mean, I would assume that would come with shame. I'm not working on myself. I'm just trying to get everybody to hate my parents with me, you know, kind of attitude. It's like, and another thing that I see too, even in her one video, she then, you know, well, and I know that we're all being poisoned, and I just hope my child forgives me for all the stupid stuff I've done. This is what I was talking about the other day, is like kids learn from the people they're around. They're not learning like what you're telling them. They're learning how you behave. So if you're somebody who is constantly creating division and drama and putting yourself above others and not dealing with your issues, you are creating a child that will be the same way. And so it's not just like, you know, this became a thing. I don't remember when, but about racism. Like, they've used racism a lot because, you know, it's a really easy one to get us to divide on. And people get so worked up about it. And it's the same people that don't realize that, you know, they're all pro-choice. And there's a video going around right now that is just absolutely mind-blowing. I don't even know how. Maybe it's the girl who stole all those babies and she videotaped it all and measuring. And these are formed babies. This is not cells. This is an actual formed baby. Like, and when you see what they did to these babies, like, I don't know what they used to put up there, but it's like some of them are just all chopped up. Like, big chops in the back of their head, half their head gone, their arm chopped and hanging. Like, I don't know what they do, but it seems pretty awful. It definitely seems like murder. But these same people who are pro-choice, that they don't think it through to the point where, who are they trying to take out with all this pro-choice? Where are these clinics, and what babies? What makes up the biggest percentage of this babies? Who was the person who created the industry? Like, look into this stuff. You know, it gives you a new insight. That's the thing, is so many people, they just don't have a clear insight into things. They don't look deeper into things. They just want to be a part of the movement, you know, pro-choice and women's movement and liberal and all of this stuff. They think like that is moving them forward, but really it's holding them back. And this was another thing too, is I shared this video too. I always like this girl. She always says a lot of really deep stuff, and I always agree with the things that she's saying. So this one, she was talking about the movie Free Man or whatever, you know, the new Ryan Reynolds one, where he is a avatar in a game, and then he comes to life and realizes it or something. And I didn't watch it because I was like, this is the same reason I can't handle watching Westworld. Like, this is real. And so she said that it's come out or something, that this is real. This is really like how consciousness works, which, yeah, I know. And then she was talking about another book and Dolores Cannon and about the background people. And there's so many people that talk about background people. And this is, you know, what I want to say in my, you know, how I would clarify to me the background people. I've talked about this before. But so if you think about, you know, the lower chakra, and you're here and you are projected into this experience, and then you are just living your life, being a part. I swear to God, I start talking, I start swallowing air, and I can't get my words out then. Oh, there's a beautiful white peacock on the, that's really pretty. I haven't seen one of those. And so it was in the lower chakras, you know, when people are not healed, then they're just on autopilot, you know, and it's people who are not awake. They're living by someone else's rules, using someone else's identifiers to figure out who they are. And they aren't living to their true self, their true potential, or anything like that. They're just surviving and existing. And then when you think about, you have your soul group that you come in with, you know, and you're there to learn and grow with each other, then you know, that is your experience. So your group would be the background players to someone else's group. Someone else's group is, they're focused on their players. They're focused on their experiences. You are background players in their world. Like, everyone who's not in your experience are background players in your world. And the awakening is when you awaken and you take a role in your life. So since I haven't watched that movie, I can't, you know, compare it. But like in Westworld, like I said, it was like these people who start realizing, like, they're alive, like start questioning things and stuff. They start realizing that they have a consciousness, that someone's controlling them. And so I kind of think this is like the same thing, because this is the awakening. And, you know, like the hand of God that comes in and brings us this information at certain times. So it expands our thinking. So in that story, in the well, and she was talking about the Dolores Cannon book, but also in another one. But so in the idea, I won't say the story because I didn't see that movie, but you as your own avatar, which, you know, I would say, you know, most of the people I would consider that came in on my soul group aren't awake. So as we wake up and we become players in the game and we see, then it is almost like they become background players for our story, because now our story becomes where we take control of our story. This is where I was talking about, where you start living by intention. You start knowing your value, knowing what you're worth, knowing that you have control over your experience, and to focus your intention on your best outcome. So then you are living, you're actually living, you're actually doing it with intention. You're putting effort into which direction you want to go in life. So then you have, like I had talked about before, like so many people live their lives as the avatar in the game. They don't ever step back and realize that they're really the player who is playing, and they aren't the avatar at all. And this is the awakening. So many people awakening to the fact that they are in a game, but you have to connect to your the person who has the controllers, you know, your higher self. And And this is another thing too, is how many of these people who, I mean, there's so much stuff with religion, coming out. And there's so many people, I mean, they're holding on. There's so many people just holding on to religion. That is our God. It's God. It's like, no, religion was created so that they could distract you from the true God, from the true creator. They wanted to create you a figure to worship that is their same figure. So you are focused on worshiping this being, because they make it like a three-dimensional being, that you are worshiping this being that doesn't care about you, that kind of hates you, doesn't you have to worship them, and you have to turn against others and be judgmental and all of these things, that it is their stuff that they want others to do. So they create a religion that gets you to do that, and people don't, all these people that don't turn something on and go like, what God would do this? What God would make me do this? What God would create this kind of hostile world? It's like, because it's not. They are telling you something. The true connection to God, source, is through you. There is no book to, there's tons of books of people's ideas. There's tons of books that have been manipulated. There's tons of books that have been destroyed. Like, information is not, information and knowledge is what they don't want us to have. They want to control all of that. That's why they created the TV, to do the programming, to have more control over our thoughts and how we look at things. And that's what they do in all of their programming, is guide us how they want us to see things. And when people don't have that thing that turns on inside of them that tells them, hey, wait, something's wrong, sirens going off, red flag, they just, continue to participate. And the more they don't understand, the more they need to drag others in. It doesn't matter. Just do what you're told. It is like, it's bizarre, because there's so much hypocrisy. It's these same people who think that they're so independent, and they really are the most dependent. And because the real creator is about love, you really have to connect for your own self, and then you feel it, it. It has nothing to do with keeping you small. It has everything to do with keeping you bigger and bigger, and knowing your true self, and loving yourself and expanding yourself. The true creator is about expansion and creation and love and unity. And anybody who's preaching something different than that, then they have got a God that was created for them. Because, and when people want to say, well, God's not that great, he lets all this bad stuff happen here. No, he doesn't let anything happen. He lets us come into a world and play our parts so that we can grow, and we create these monsters that we fear. Like, we're the ones creating this stuff. We're creating serial killers and psychopaths. They are also, they got their programs to, do that as well. But I keep trying to say, we are playing a part in this. It's not just them. People are also playing their part. They have to recognize the part they play, so that they can wake up and see the truth. That's all about the awakening. And the awakening is when you wake up to the truth, and you see through the illusion, you see your part you play, you understand you can't just, there's not a recipe to this stuff. There's not a 1, 2, 3 step. And then, you're a Christian, you're a Catholic. It's not about that. It is a true connection. It's a true connection to yourself, and to everyone, and to the world around you. And, and it's a process. I've talked about this so many times, but, when I see these people, I get really excited when I see all the people who are on board. you know, because that is what this whole thing is about, is this mass awakening. That is what moves us into the age of Aquarius, is, you know, and even if we've started into the age of Aquarius, this isn't really the age of Aquarius, because the age of Aquarius will not be about this fighting and battles and, you know, hierarchy and stuff. It's going to be about peace and love. And, you know, obviously this world has to blow down to blow up to get us to that point, you know, to get to that stage in our lives of wanting to just love and be accepted and accept ourselves and stuff. This like, it's going to happen. Like, it's written in the stars. It's going to happen. We will go into the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is, you know, it's just the next age that will occur. And like I keep saying, you know, it's people's own values that will hold them back, because they still have to learn about that stuff. So, you know, if they can't grow and learn, then they won't go into it. You know, and I don't know if that means they will transition out, they'll go and do their life review, and suddenly things will make sense, and then they'll go to the age of Aquarius. Like, I don't know. I know that there will be other beings there. There's going to be, you know, it's a real big advancement for those of us who do our healing. We begin to understand and open ourselves up and open our minds. Like, the same thing as these people who have such limiting beliefs. I mean, think about it. How would they feel? You know, could they go and sit down and talk to people that they consider monsters, that they're scared of? You know, are they going to, you know, if alien ships came and landed out on our yard, would they come running out with their guns because they believe so much of what they're told, instead of going out and getting to know these people? That is the whole thing, like, where people have got to stop with these labels and start to get to know people as individuals. You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to love everybody. You don't have to be in alignment with everybody. You just have to accept everybody. Just accept them. That's all you got to do. You don't have to do anything more than that. You can find the people that you align with, and, you know, focus on those relationships. Focus on the joy that things bring you when you're having relationships with people that you're in alignment with. You know, those are the ways that we will be moving into another world. Oh, and another thing that so many people keep asking me, like, well, what can we do? What can we do? And, you know, anybody who's been listening to me on here knows, you know, we have got to move out from their smart cities. There was somebody in Pennsylvania, I think, that was just telling me they were coming in and cutting down off the tops of the trees. Well, what's the next step? They're going to just remove the trees because they want a concrete jungle. They don't want us to have anything of nature that gives us something different. Today, it was funny because it was like I was doing something. Maybe I was, I think I made a couple of little TikToks. And right when I started talking on one, the frequency came in really loud. And whenever that happens, I always think, like, how much are they watching us? Like, it's really kind of creepy when that kind of stuff happens. Another thing, too, is yesterday, you know, it was freezing cold all morning. Like I had said, it was so cold. And then it was the sun came out and it was still cold as shit. Doesn't warm up anything. That's another thing. It's like, this is not the sun. The sun comes out, it warms things up. This is not like that. It will come out, and if you look at it, you feel like it's more of a direct heat. I don't know how to explain it unless you've experienced it, and it burns your eyeballs out. And so it's freezing cold, and then it just went totally dark. Oh, I remember I laid down on the couch and I turned on some movie, and Stella was laying on the ground under me. So I dozed off. I don't know, could have been 20 minutes, 30 minutes or something. And I woke up, and my couch is under the window. So when I wake up, I'm looking up into the sky at the top of the trees, and everything was orange. The whole outdoors was this bright orange. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing now? Like, what is happening? And it was like, I think it was around 3 o'clock or something. And so, oh no, it was like 2 o'clock. So I got up and I was just like, oh my God, what the fuck are they doing with this orange? How can people not see? Like, I know about the colors in the sky because when I lived in Southern California, I learned about that. The pollution is what gives the sky the colors like that. And so, I knew that they were doing something. And then it came in like this total storm of ice, just all this ice, the same thing with their little hail balls, just tons and tons and tons of them just kept going and going and going and going. And then it started thundering. And, all morning long, it had been having all of those planes. Like I keep talking about, the plane traffic over us is picked up a lot. And in the different kinds of planes, like I've started noticing there's different sounds. They're not all the same, which, if they're just sitting here monitoring us, like, up at the border, going back and forth to, watch those crazy Canadians and maybe run across the border. If they're just up there watching this going, like, why would they change to all these different vehicles? Why would the planes always change? Why would the patterns change? Why would they sometimes be in helicopters, sometimes be in planes and stuff? Like, I'm just not buying it. And plus, when like, there's something going on. And and we know Inslee sold out to China a long time ago. I mean, the guy who runs our state, they don't talk about him enough, as far as I'm concerned. And it was very clear when he put himself in power. It was like he came out of nowhere and suddenly he was governor, and you can't get him the fuck out of there. And he's a rotten monster, and he's, at the same table with Gator Boy at Thanksgiving because he's married into the family. So, that's how these families work. They change names. They just, they just spread out and infiltrate our system. And so then this lightning and thunderstorm started, and it was so freaking loud. So I'm just sitting here, and it's just nonstop hailing. And then Stella jumps up and she starts barking, and then she wants out. So I open the door, and then I start hearing like loud thunder, like super loud. And then it was like moving around, and there was like these huge flashes, but it wasn't like lightning flashes. It was colorful flashes. It was like bright colors. And it really made me go back to the video that the guy, that if you say his name and you share his videos, like, I know that they recognize his voice, they will take him down. There's two guys apparently, but I know I've heard other people talk about the same thing with this guy. And all I can remember is I'm pretty sure his name is Glenn, and he has been outspoken since all of his stuff began. It was like he had friends in the military, or he's from the military. I don't know all his background story, but there's a lot of people who interview him and stuff, and he has been saying a lot of stuff. I don't even know how you would find him. One time I tried to look him up, but he's very shadow banned. He's very hard to find. And but in this video that I had seen, and this was one of the ones that I got taken down off TikTok before, and he was showing, I think it was Mexico, and they said that it was an earthquake, and people had shared this video or something. So he had the video of what these people have been sharing, of this big storm. And so he said, and it was these giant colors coming out, like the lightning was colored. It was all these colors going out. And it was when they've been, the fight underground, if you know about all the battle underground that's been going on, and what they've been doing to destroy those tunnels and stuff. And there's beings and stuff that are down there, the ones who want to control us. And, because it's not just the aristocratic, illuminated ones that are a part of that. It's also the bad aliens, the Dracos and stuff like that. Some some reptilians, but not all reptilians are like that. In our DNA, it's the fight or flight comes from the reptilians. They have things that are good, but then there's other beings that are all about power and control and domination and enslavement, and then using our energy without us knowing it. And those ones are a part of the whole aristocratic unit that is, enslaving us and dominating us. And so they are down there underground, a lot of them, in these hidden bases and stuff. So he said when they're having these wars under there and they are defeating these people, these beings, that there's a lot of blowing up and stuff. So in this one, he said, as these colors and this loud thunder and this storm that they said was due to an earthquake, looks like here we had a thunderstorm from a hailstorm. Like, when I grew up, it was always the reason that there was thunder and lightning. It was when two different systems met, when it was really hot, and then a cold system, and they met. But there was no warmth, and then this other system came in, and it was cold. It's been cold here for weeks. There's not been any warmth the whole time. So, I don't know where they're coming up with this, thunder. They always got to mark it like, oh, well, it's climate change, you can't expect it to be normal. It's like, there's people who literally say this shit. And it's so ridiculous. It's like you worship science, but science gives you no answers. You just go along with whatever it says. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. You just got to accept it. It's climate change. It's like, oh my God, I got to accept the fact that you may not have any brains. That's what I need to accept. And I feel bad saying that because I haven't said to me a lot. Like, I can't say anything about the weather without somebody coming back at me. Oh, well, it's climate change. It's climate change. It's like, fuck your climate change. And so then he was saying that this color and stuff was the ships. It's something about plasma and stuff. And it's when it breaks through that it makes this loud bang and these colors. And that's what was out here. And so I was doing some videos. I was like, oh my God. Because I started feeling like, oh my gosh, are they having a battle up here in the sky? Because we were veiled. You couldn't see. It was like I've said a million times, it's like they put this atmospheric veil over us. You can't see anything out of it. And it's like a grayish kind of color that has light, but it doesn't have light. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's very weird. And so they, because, usually if you have an overcast day, right, and the skies turn gray and the storm comes in and the storm, it storms and then everything clears up and becomes beautiful and the clouds turn back into big puff balls. But that never happens. It doesn't happen over here. Even if they have any fluffy clouds that come out, they're always orange and pink. So they're all just chemicals and stuff. But anyways, when I went outside, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe that is because the colors and the loud crashing. It was so loud. And so while I was out there watching, I was just like, oh, please, God. That would be so, oh my God, that would be so superior if it just all of a sudden everything opened and we could see the battle above us with the ships and stuff. But, that would probably be a part of their just marketing the alien invasion, because it is not, that's why they don't come here. They're not going to come here and fight with us and battle with us. They're letting us figure out what it is we want. What do we want? Do we want to sit and be divided and call each other names and box each other into groups and never feel accepted? Always feel defeated, be suicidal, always be chasing their ideas of success? Or are we going to recognize the truth? Because the truth is inside of us. We just have to turn that part of us on so we can recognize it, And then once we do, that changes everything. And that's what they're waiting for. They're not going to come in and start attacking us like that, I don't know I think that they would do what they could, if we're being attacked. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we were being attacked and they came in and started attacking the ones that were attacking us, because, you know, they do have empathy for us. I mean, they do know that we're being misled, but we have to turn that part of us on so we can see. And it was another thing too that was like shown to me. Like if you, let me think, I've had so many things. My brain gets so clogged up with this stuff. Let's see, if you, oh, I don't know if I can grab that out of all of this other stuff. Maybe I'll just come back and talk to it when I can get it more formulated back into what I had seen. But it is, you know, this awakening is completely individual, and it is everything about you realizing, like, setting your own priorities, understanding, like, not following the book, follow your heart, and see through the illusion, see through what you worship. You know, it is up to each person to do that. And, you know, when everybody does, that's what changes everything. It is the people. And there's a certain percentage, you know, that certain percentage. And I don't know if that's all that's going to awaken. Like, I don't know all of that stuff. That is, you know, all things that we just have to wait and see how things play out. Just like I said, we don't know how the movie ends. We don't know what's going to happen, but we just know there will be a happy ending. You know, when we get to the end, it will be a happy ending, because it will be us starting again. It will be that flower that comes out of the dirt and ash that we, right when I said that, a flower popped up on the screen. Oh, that's so cool when that stuff happens. So it is, you know, that is the beginning of us. It's the beginning of the reign of us on this world. And, you know, this other toxic world that we've accepted has to end. It can't carry on. And it has been exposing itself. And that's why some of this stuff is so extreme in how it is being exposed to us, because we have to see. It has to be absurd. It has to affect you. You have to understand. And for those of us who do, like, I mean, there's so much to this awakening. There's so many people awakening to all different aspects. And, you know, to how much ever you are awakened to, it is hard to watch the people who, you know, are marching to the wrong drummer, and, you know, just to sit back and let them see it for themselves. It is very much like about a child's development, how it is very important for you to let them suffer their consequences. You can't save them and rescue them and, you know, never let them feel pain. They have to feel pain. They have to suffer their own consequences, because that's how they learn. And that's what we're going through right now in that stage of a development, that they have to see their role. They have to understand themselves. They have to see this world in a bigger vision, so that they can see the role that they play. And this is like a movie. You are choosing your role. You're choosing who you are at this time, especially at this time of transformation. And you know, and all of us who do see and do understand, I think it's up to all of us to just keep speaking our truth and staying strong. You know, don't let the haters bring you down, because you just got to see they're desperate. They don't know, they can't imagine a world that is not created for them, and they're holding on to it with dear life. Like everything that gets taken down, they're pulling out duct tape and, give me my hammer, I'm gonna save the world. You know, they want us to all align with this ridiculousness, because it's the only thing that makes sense to them. And, you know, in a soul's journey, I don't know if those people, you know, are they here to wake others up, or are they here for their own awakening? Like, that's where you can never know what somebody's deal is. That's why you can't, this pairing up against each other of like, I'm better than you, I'm worse than you, is just ridiculous. Oh, and I will give a little update too, what I just saw on the Stu Peters thing. Somebody has gone and found some stuff where he was doing all of that, you know, this stuff and this stuff where, I don't know, this is some sort of symbol that they do to each other, and this thing is something. And when they pull out these people that do these signals to each other, you don't know, like, Is it the photographer who's just trying to do it, or these people like, oh, I got to get my thing in there. Oh, you got to make sure I do this. Like, I don't know. And also, you know, I don't know, was he really that famous before? Like, I think his platform became really as a truth speaker, I thought. And the weird thing is how many people he has had on his show that has, you know, really disclosed a lot of information. And so, you know, and we got to remember too that some of these people who are, you know, all about this stuff just didn't realize what was really going on. They just hadn't seen the truth. And, you know, I mean, that wakes you up when you realize they're trying to kill you and your kids and everybody you love. So a lot of people who were playing the game now are seeing through the game and, you know, could be going the other side. But that's also the thing, is in this weird world of illusion, you don't know who's on what side. So that's why you can't just go in and just completely follow somebody. Like, you have to connect with yourself and find your own truth. And like, I know that we're being poisoned. I know we're being poisoned in the water. I went through the experience. I mean, since I haven't been drinking it, I haven't been getting those electrical shocks. But, you know, I mean, they're going to keep pouring it down from the skies on us. So, you know, I'm going to get it one way or the other. But I'm still not having the electrical shocks. But I'm sure it has a lot to do with what's happening with my vision. And but these people who, you know, that you can't tell, like, there's a lot of people out there right now that you can't tell what side they are on. And, you know, I mean, that's really, you know, probably good. You know, I mean, 007, some of these people they are playing double, some of these people are playing on both sides, but you don't know which side is their true, the true connection, what part they're really standing up for. They, you know, infiltrating into the other group so that they can, you know, spread awareness. Like, it's hard to ever know, you know. And there's something else coming out, like, about the doctor who said that. But when they start just keep throwing these people under the bus and this information comes out, like, there's people who are very sophisticated with media. I mean, we've seen them, what they've done to so many celebrities and people who have tried to speak out. They will just destroy them. And they can, you know, they've got control over the media. They can, you know, create a whole movie and show us something that never even happened. They are highly sophisticated, and they've got way more technology than anything that we can even understand or comprehend. And so, you know, I just say, it, you know, I'm not going to worry about if, you know, this guy is a plant, a psyop, or whatever. I know for sure the stuff that they were saying, how they were saying it, it was completely in alignment with what I've been told the whole time. There were experiments, that we're being poisoned, we're being watched, and plus you just see it. I mean, the skies are turning colors, and they're doing something to block out the sun. You know, they're lowering our vitamin D by doing that, and recognize what it's doing to nature and the plants and stuff. It just, I mean, that's what it's doing to our insides. And, you know, like I said before, in the very beginning in 2020, where I was hearing all of the people who were dying of the Dovec were all no vitamin D. That's when so many doctors were coming out and saying, you got to take vitamin D, you got to take vitamin D. And then other ones were like, you got to take vitamin C. Like, they started realizing about it's our immune system, you know. And that's what all the stuff about, you know, the thing I talked about a long time ago, when I was at dating age back in the day, when they, you know, targeted gay men and drug addicts. You know, I don't even know, did they even realize who they were targeting, or did they just put something out there and then see how it worked? You know, how do we get this best into them? Let's see. And you know, it was just certain kind of sexual activity and other activity that, had a blood transfer. So the blood transfer is where it started. But, that was a part of their experiment. And they are still doing this stuff. And it's all about to kill our immune system so that we can't fight anything. And then they just keep releasing more and more toxins, and our bodies get more tired and age. And oh, my mom said that, and now she's really into the herbs and stuff, And so I keep sending her videos, TikToks and stuff, where there's so many herbalists and stuff explaining the herbs in nature that will help us. And I keep sending them to her. And my mom yesterday, she goes, I was the elderberry one that got her. She goes, what's so crazy is I knew a woman way back in the day when she was homeschooling her daughter, because my mom was big Christian, so she took her, we went to public school, but when she got older and she had her second family, that daughter did not go to public school. She was homeschooled. And so it was back in those days when she was with those kind of people, the homeschool groups would get together, to socialize their kids, and they would do events and stuff like that. So she'd get to know all of these different moms, which, think about that. How many people just put their kids in school and they don't interact with the other parents and stuff, and they talk about socializing them because they get a half hour at recess, but the rest of the day they're being militarized and scared and, indoctrinated. So, but when she was in that group, she said there was this woman who was all into the herbs and stuff. And Mom said that back then she was all into Western medicine, and she kept, just thought this woman just didn't get it, And I remember that too. Like, I felt the same way. Like, oh no, Western medicine, that's our savior. Science, it's our savior. And so she said, what's weird now is I see that woman, I see pictures of her, and she hasn't aged. It's been like 25 years and she looks the same. Yeah, I wonder why. It's the chemicals. That's what I keep saying. It's the chemicals and the way that they get us to think about things. That's what's aging us. It is the toxins and stuff, and our own view of ourselves. We lose our value of ourselves. I mean, they're doing it to kids now in their 20s, but definitely this whole thing with ageism and, just all of this stuff. Just start paying attention to it. But we are aging ourselves because we lose our own value and our own value of our own self, because we choose to identify with the labels and the created world that they've created for us. But when you pull free and you focus on nature, you focus on yourself, you focus on healing, you focus on health, you focus on your connection to all that is, it changes your attitude, it changes your outlook, it changes your avatar. Everything changes, but it's up to each person to figure that out for themselves. So I'll talk to you later. There is some more stuff that I'm probably going to keep this conversation going more, but this one is going so long already. I keep getting on these rants, and I get so many things in my head and trying to keep them all straight and, talk about each thing, give it its just due. Like everything is it's so much different than what we think it is. We just have to, I just know it is about connecting with yourself and seeing the truth. And you will see the truth when you connect to yourself, because it is the consciousness that is attached to their truth. And that's what you got to release, their truth, because their truth is all based on lies. So I will talk to you later. Bye.